We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
You have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV. It is Tuesday, a little different than normal, but Pete Wilson is here for the morning news update, of course, brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you are looking to buy, sell, have any real estate needs, you give Nia a call, right, Pete?
Absolutely.
740-418-4135. Good morning to all of you that are watching this morning. We appreciate you tuning in and saying hey to us this morning. And Pete, you got what?
Okay.
What?
We better say what is. Hadn't we?
One of the craziest news stories we've ever had here on Main Street TV, I think we're going to announce this morning.
Okay. Are we talking about a story from Wellston?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what.
Or not crazy, shocking.
Right.
Shocking.
Well, surprising for sure. You never know behind the scenes, but of course, what Jennifer is referring to is the announcement and confirmation that we have in hand as of yesterday that Wellston Mayor Charlie Hudson, there he is.
Mhm.
Dylan's got his picture up there. He will be resigning. As a matter of fact, it will officially take place today.
No.
Right. Now, this was, as
No.
far as I know, this was unexpected, surprising. The news kind of started to get out just a little bit yesterday amongst people in the know within the city administration and who work with the city administration. I caught wind of it. We were able to confirm that it was a fact, although we didn't immediately be able to talk to Charlie because he was not working. He'd actually come in and cleaned out his office on Monday morning. But we were able to talk with him on Monday afternoon to learn firsthand about his decision, and we're going to share that information now. But the bottom line is that Charlie was in his first term, a 4-year term. He was elected in 2019. The term ends at the end of this calendar year, 2023. So it was through the end of this year if he had, decided to, leave at the end of the first term. He feels compelled to leave early, and that is taking effect today. He will be taking a letter to the Jackson County Board of Elections, if he hasn't already, that will officially confirm his resignation from office. It will be a matter of record there. That will trigger a process where there will be a political appointment because Charlie is a Republican. That means that the Jackson County Republican Party Central Committee will pick a successor for the unexpired term, only through the end of 2023.
Kind of like the prosecutor deal.
That's exactly.
Well, they've had their hands full lately, haven't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. In this case, the Central Committee means the Wellston City Caucus because those members represent the city of Wellston.
Sure.
So I think there's either 4 or 5, and we've had them in the news in the last year or so where they, had to make appointments to council.
Yes.
And this will be for mayor. But now to the nub of the matter.
People want to know why.
Right. Well, Charlie came to the decision after a week or two of reflection, discussion with his family and so forth, that he needed to step down. And what he called the tipping point in his decision was the fact that he faces some knee replacement surgeries. And I used plural because he had a knee replacement before he's going to have a do-over on that.
Mhm.
And then the other knee now needs replaced. And so he would like to do both of them at the same time as soon as possible. I mean, it's painful and uncomfortable. His movements are
Very.
limited.
Yes.
And so when he does that, and people who have been through that or know somebody who's been through that, it almost always works out for the best. You feel better with a brand new knee or knees, but it takes a little time. You're out of commission for a while.
Yes.
And the period that he would be out, several weeks or whatever it would be, that was concerning to him. He didn't want to be away from the city, for them not to have a mayor for that long. And he didn't feel good about being away. He didn't feel it would be good for him or the city.
Okay.
Also, kind of like on a secondary level, he recently turned 65 years old. And he's thinking, do I want to continue to do this?
Okay.
And there's no secret in the city of Wellston. Charlie grew up in Wellston, graduated from Wellston High School, moved away a little bit later, very successful businessman, a franchisor of Pizza Hut restaurants. This is not something that he has to do for a living, being the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of decided to get involved in civic service and then municipal service, first
Sure,
on city council
to help.
and now as mayor. And from my position, he has built on what Connie Pelletier did as
Mhm.
mayor, and we remember where Wellston was when Connie took office, all the
Yes.
financial trouble, some improvements. Charlie has built on that big time with some infrastructure projects. He's been able to get, along with his administration, about $9 million in grants. We've got major infrastructure projects that are planned or underway. And he doesn't want to walk away from those, but he just feels that when the time has come, and he feels that his time has come to step
Okay.
down.
Fair enough.
But probably, and only Charlie knows this, and maybe he's unsure about it. The trigger was the knee replacement surgeries that he faces, and that he is just uncomfortable. He
Yes.
did disclose in a letter that is going out to City Council today, which I have a copy of, and he said to me also on the phone, a complicating factor is that he has a bleeding disorder, and that anytime that you have a
Oh.
surgery or whatever,
Yes.
there's an added seriousness to it.
Yes.
And so he has all that on his mind, and I think that you can agree. You can only guess, Jennifer. You've been in business around public life and so forth. You can only guess the stress and pressure that
Yes.
get put on you, no matter how strong you are.
Correct.
It's hard to sometimes deal with the pressure you put on yourself to try to get the job done, and then criticism that may come from the outside. And I'm
You're
not
right.
suggesting that this was a problem with Charlie. He didn't say so,
No.
but it's always there if you're in a position like that.
You're right, and the weight of the world lies on your shoulders a lot, and when it's lonely at the top, right? So you have to boost everyone else up, and there's no one else to
Right. It has not
to
been.
help you. So it's like, not saying that that's it, but it is a lot. It's
Right.
a lot when you're at the top.
Well, there's a lot going on. Regularly, there's a lot going on. But right now, because of the projects, there's a lot of detail work involved there.
Yes.
And Charlie's not going to be an easy chair mayor. He's going to he will count on these people. I'm sure he's a very good manager, service director Anthony Brenner, and the rest. But he is going to be engaged.
Sure, he
And-
jumps in with both feet and goes for it. So,
Right.
and if he can't do that, that
he
would
is
be
he is very much the
hard for him.
leader,
Yes.
even with the team. So the second part of this story is another reason that he doesn't feel horribly about stepping out at this point is that he has a succession plan in mind. Now, it's up to somebody else. It's not up to him, but he has thrown it out there publicly already. He has a lot of confidence in his service director, Anthony Brenner.
Okay.
He is suggesting, and he has proposed this to Mr. Brenner, and he's proposed it publicly now. It's in the paper or on our website. It will be in the paper. He would like to see Anthony Brenner become the mayor.
Okay.
Okay, he would know what is going on. He has full confidence in his ability. He deflected credit to him. He says that, the service director is always the day-to-day person
They,
that
they are.
has to do the work
lot of-
and so forth and manage the city and so forth.
Yeah.
He would like to see Brenner step up. That begs the question, there would have to be a new service director. That would be
Sure.
a question. We're going to check with Mr. Brenner and see, if he would seek that office of mayor. As of yesterday, Mr. Hudson told me that he has discussed it with Anthony Brenner, and Anthony Brenner is thinking about it, discussing it with his family, pros and
Sure.
cons. So we will see what will happen there. If Mr. Brenner, who is a Republican, does want to seek the mayor's position, he will put his name in the hat, and any other person that is qualified, meaning that you live in the city of Wellston or are a registered voter, can seek this appointment from the caucus. We expect to get notification about any day, certainly before the end of the week, about when that meeting will
Yes.
be.
It'll have to be quick.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, I think, a legal waiting period after a retirement notification. You have to give notice to the public to make sure that interested parties can come
Okay.
forth and apply. For right now, there is a mayor. It is Rick Hudson, who happens to be Charlie's brother.
Yes.
And the reason that he is the interim mayor is that he is the council president, and that is how it works
Okay.
in the city of Wellston. I'm not sure whether that's a state thing or the way the city has its personnel thing written up.
Yep.
But Rick will be the interim mayor. He was quick to tell me, I did talk to him yesterday, he is not interested in being the mayor even for the rest of the year.
Right.
But he, of course, will be the interim mayor because he's needed to be.
Okay.
But that should not be that long. I would expect a meeting to be held within the next 2 weeks
Yep.
and to be announced pretty soon. So we will see what happens there. But, I told Charlie Hudson on the phone, when I report the news, Jennifer, and even talk about it here on television, I try to stay with reporting and not offer a lot of opinions. But I will have to say, I think Charlie Hudson has done a marvelous service
Yep.
for the city of Wellston. As I said, building on what Mayor Connie did before him, I think Wellston was blessed to have somebody who was willing to serve. A lot of times, in municipal office, small cities, you don't have a big salary. Certainly, Charlie has a nominal salary. And, once again, he did not have to do this.
No, he did not.
And I believe that this was a decision that he came to just within the last week or two. I don't think this was his intention, even just 2 or 3 months ago. I think this
Okay.
is a decision he so slowly came around to with the double knee replacement surgery, really making him think about his immediate future.
Absolutely. I just want to give a shout out to Charlie from my perspective of, anytime I've had a question or wanted to know something, or whether it be personal or professional, he's always been there. He always answers the phone or texts back. He's been great to come here on the show. He's been very transparent about things. So we'll certainly miss him.
All those things you said, I certainly agree with. In my business, sometimes, we're in a hurry to get the news out. I'm not on the Wellston City beat principally, but we have found Charlie to be responsive. We found him
Very.
to be very professional,
Yes.
sharing information not only with the press, with the public. They use the Wellston folks use their Facebook page to let people know. Charlie is a Republican. He's tight with the taxpayers' money, but he is also progressive. He knows that
Very.
things need to be done, and he is everybody has to have, a diplomacy, a soft side. You need to get along with people and you need to smooth them over. But I found Charlie, even though he can be that way, I found him to be honest and direct as well about
right.
the situation and what needs done. He won't tell you something that I don't believe that he thinks is not true.
No, I agree with that. And just his vision for the town and the ideas that he's put forth, I think, have just been unbelievable.
Right. I don't think he, God bless him. These people that are in public office, and it means a lot to them. Maybe it's their livelihood. They do have to think about getting elected and popularity and like
Yep.
that. I don't think that was a great
No.
concern for Charlie.
What a fun
and-
way
and-
to be in office is to
Right. He was not worried about the next election. I think he really was thinking about what was good for Wellston, whether
100%.
you always agreed with what he did and how he did
Correct.
or not.
100%. I would agree with that.
But anyway, one of his statements was, if you just want to hear it in his words, there comes a time when each of us will know that it's time to walk away and pass the torch to the next leader. My time is now. I just turned 65 since the past 2 weeks, and now I require 2 knee surgeries that with my bleeding disorder would sideline me, taking me several weeks to recover. This was to be my final year as mayor, and I feel it's best to step down now rather than impede the city's progress with a lengthy leave of absence. The city is doing very well under the leadership of Service Director Brenner and his team. As such, the next mayor is set up for continued success. And in that statement, I mean, he's looking after what he thinks he has to do for himself, but I think he thinks the city will be in good hands, and he is not leaving. He's not leaving it in a mess.
Yeah,
at
high
all.
and dry at all. No, not at all. But we'll miss you, Charlie.
All right. And he also told me, I don't think I included this in the story or whatever, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be staying in Wellston and all, but he's going to be more of a family man. Says he has 9 grandchildren.
He does.
And
Believe it or
so,
not.
this will be a release for him.
Yeah.
But, he says you hit that 6'5", and that's one of those ages, oh my gosh, 65, like 30, 40, and so on. So, he thought about that part too.
I mean, and you
Thought
don't
about-
know how that's going to affect you until it actually happens. You
Well,
know?
and then you're thinking, somebody who's a little older than Charlie, you think about the time you have left and what you want to do with it, and
Sure.
and there is a lot of things maybe you can't do if you're tied up running a city.
That's true.
All right, speaking of Wellston and politics and positions, our next story broke on Friday evening.
Yes.
We talked about it, on the news last week. The GOP Central Committee here in Jackson County had to pick a prosecutor. As it turned out, there were 3 people who sought that position.
Mhm.
They were Randy Dupree, a longtime attorney from Wellston, who currently serves as both the Wellston City Law Director and more principally, as an assistant prosecuting attorney in Gallia County.
Yes.
You had Gene Meadows, who has become very active defense attorney the past several years in Jackson County, now lives in Wellston. And he actually ran for prosecutor and lost to Justin Levitt in 2020.
Okay.
And then you had Evan Cole, a young attorney here in Jackson, the son of longtime attorney Bill Cole.
Yes.
So you had, those 3 people had expressed interest in being the prosecutor for the remainder of Justin Levitt's unexpired term. Roll the tape back. Justin Levitt resigned effective January 6th with 1 year left on a 4-year term. That was his 3rd term.
Okay.
His resignation took effective January 6th. That triggered this meeting of the GOP Central Committee to pick a successor to go through the end of the year. The office will be on the ballot. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It will be through 2024. I'm mixing it up with the mayor situation.
I know.
The
This
election,
has been crazy lately.
The election is in 2024 for many county offices, including prosecutor. So the appointee would serve the next 2 years. And then,
Okay.
of course, that would give them a running start being the incumbent, so-called incumbent in the
Right.
2024 election. The winner is
Duh.
Randy Dupree.
Okay.
And this is the way it unfolded. There is a picture of that's a handshake there. That is Randy on the left. That is Randy's wife, Stephanie, there in the middle. And the man shaking his hand, he also had the honor of giving him the oath of office. Right there after the appointment was made on Friday night is Jason Holdren. He is
Okay.
the prosecuting attorney in Gallia County.
Oh.
And
okay.
so Holdren was Randy's boss, and Randy gave Holdren the honor of swearing him in. Holdren said some nice words about Randy, kind of along the lines, our loss in Gallia County is your gain in Jackson County. And there is a photo from the actual swearing in that took part after the committee picked Randy Dupree. Both Randy Dupree, Evan Cole, and Gene Meadows had a chance to address the committee beforehand. And the way it worked out, it was a clear show of support for Mr. Dupree. First of all, Evan Cole, when he got up to speak, he withdrew his candidacy.
Okay.
Now he wanted to come and face the crowd because he had, I think he'd gone around the county and sought some support from committee members. And I don't know what the root of this is, but what he said was, I am withdrawing because the process has become divisive. That was the word he did. And in the
Okay.
name of party unity, he said he was withdrawing, and he said he would continue to support the Republican Party, yada, yada, yada. We may see him
Sure.
in the future maybe running for
Right.
something. Didn't say that, but, he's a young man. All right. That brought, then Randy Dupree was up because it was in alphabetical order. And what Randy talked about was, what you would expect. He touted his, local residence, lifelong resident of Jackson County in Wellston. His service 6 years as Jackson County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, then 6 years and currently a Gallia County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. Of course, he didn't say this, but he did run for probate juvenile judge in 2022. And so, 2022, lost to Justin Skaggs. So, I guess you could say he's kind of paid his political and service dues. And so, he touted his experience in public service. He is a battalion chief with the Wellston Fire Department. His family deep in the fire department. And he
Gotcha.
mentioned his grandparents, his late grandparents, John and Carol Dupree, who were Republican leaders, So he emphasized his local connections and his experience. All right, that brought Gene Meadows up. And Gene is not from Jackson County, but has lived here the last several years, been very active in court, mentioned how many trials he has, been an attorney for, 46 criminal trials and a number of in just a few years. So he got a lot of experience in the courtroom.
Yep.
He also talked that he is one of the attorneys. Not every attorney can do this. He is qualified to do death penalty cases, et cetera. He said that he would be staying in Jackson County. He was committed to Jackson County. He said he would run for prosecutor in 2024. But he also said, and once again, he was not specific about this, and you're just left to speculation. The first thing he said was he wanted to clear up some what he called nasty rumors about himself that he said were not true,
Okay.
whatever they were. And he said to just consider the motives of the person or persons who spread them.
Okay.
So sounds like insinuation of politics going on here during this election process.
No.
This is just coming from Gene Meadows. Don't know what the rumors were. Don't know what was circulated, what is and isn't, but I'll just tell you what Gene Meadows said.
Okay.
So that set us up for the vote. The first thing that happens, and Bren Stepp, who is the Central Committee Chairman, ran the meeting. The first thing was she asked for nominations. You have to be nominated,
Okay.
and there's only two persons left because Evan Cole has withdrawn. There was a nomination for Randy Dupree. Okay, are there any other nominations? Silence.
Oh.
Gene Meadows was not nominated.
Oh.
So Randy Dupree was appointed by a show of hands.
Okay.
I don't know whether everybody's hand went up, but they probably did. So, there wasn't going to be a secret vote. Bren Stepp said that according to information from the Attorney General, must be written into code or whatever, the vote cannot be secret. It can be show of hands. It can be,
Right.
It has to be public in some way. And so, by a show of hands and by acclamation, I guess you could say, Randy Dupree is the new prosecuting attorney in Jackson County.
Okay.
He told me that night that he hoped to start today, Tuesday.
Okay.
Monday was Martin Luther King Day, that little day of transition there, but he plans to hit the ground running and use his experience, as a prosecutor to, keep things going.
Gotcha.
So anyway, the new prosecuting attorney in Jackson County, at least for the next 2 years, is Randy Dupree.
All right.
He has already resigned as the Gallia County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, and he has also resigned effective last Saturday as the law director in Wellston. So the GOP caucus,
Oh no.
the
Here they go again.
GOP caucus of the Wellston City Caucus will have to meet to do that too. I don't know. Maybe they could do it at the same time.
Maybe.
We will have to see.
Whew.
But that decision will fall to them. But the law director is basically the legal advisor
Yes.
for the city. So that's very important too.
This is like a movie or something.
Right. Okay. So on that same evening, and this was done with no controversy and very quickly. The Jackson County Republican Party's executive committee,
Mhm.
which is everybody on the central committee plus some others.
Okay.
That's just the way it's set up. It was their responsibility to appoint somebody to be a member of the Board of Elections, a Republican appointee for the next 4 years, term starting March 1st.
Okay.
The current person in that position is Jackson resident Kaida Newell. She expressed interest in being reappointed. There were no other persons come forward to seek that appointment.
Gotcha.
So she was also appointed by a show of hands. There is Kaida right there.
Mm-hmm.
Kaida, new term will begin March 1st. We'll go through 4 years. There are 4 people on the Board of Elections, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. Technically, the committee's vote is a quasi-appointment. It has to be approved by the Secretary of State. So
Correct.
it's technically a recommendation. Now, normally the Secretary of State, Republican or Democrat, goes along with whatever the party wants. If there's some issue about whether that person should be able to serve, that's, that.
Didn't we have
might-
that happen in Vinton County?
Yes, we did. We
Like
did.
where
We did. They've had
they
a lot.
didn't approve
Yeah, they had
who
a.
they had chosen.
Yeah, that was Frank LaRose, who is the current Secretary of State, which will show you it's not automatic.
Correct.
But
But
over the years,
Kaida's been serving. There shouldn't.
this
You would think there wouldn't be
this
any
is her
reason
second
to-
term.
Yeah.
The members of the Board of Election are Kaida Newell of Jackson, Deborah Canner of Oak Hill. Deborah Canner is a recent Republican appointee. She took the place of Kathy Smalley.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democrat members are Elaine Speakman and a man who served a long time as a board member, Rodney Smith.
Yes.
Margaret Casey is the director of the Board of Elections, and the deputy director is Marcia Beatty. So those are the people in charge of our elections in Jackson County. All right, we want to talk about the commissioners reorganizing. They did that last Wednesday, January 11th. They did not meet the first week of the year. So on January 11th, they had their first meeting of the year, which is also when they do, I guess you could call it reorganizational business. And at that meeting, that's when they decide their officers. Same 3 gentlemen who have been the commissioners are back again this year. 2022 was an election year, but John Hensler, who is one of the commissioners, was not opposed, and so he was reelected.
Okay.
So the 3 commissioners, this time around, they decided either last year or the year before that they were going to rotate officers. They kind of take turns.
Oh.
And it's Donnie Willis's turn to be president, and his colleagues. And I think we have a picture of the commissioners there. If Dylan can call it up there. There they are. Donnie Willis is on the left. They're all 3 Republicans.
Mhm.
Donnie Willis is on the left. He is the president of the Jackson County Commissioners this year. Paul Haller, who has been the president in the past, he is the vice president. And John Hensler on the right, who was elected last year to a new 4-year term without opposition, he is the 3rd member. He was president last year. So it went from Haller to Hensler to Willis.
Okay.
And that appointment is good for a year. One of the things that the commissioners also did, Jen, was they designated that their weekly meetings would now be on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. They have been meeting.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
they
different.
have been meeting at 8:30 a.m. each Tuesday,
Mhm.
provided that's a work day.
Well, how bad does that mess you up?
Well, it just means that we have an appointment on Wednesday morning instead of Tuesday morning. So, but anyway, we always try to attend the commissioners' meetings in both Jackson County and Vinton County, and so that will start immediately. The meetings are at 8:30, and remember, for those of you who've not been paying attention, the commissioners are not in the same place that they were. They're on Portsmouth Street.
Right.
The courthouse annex building is what they called it then. They are now in the Job and Family Services building.
Yes.
You go all the way around to the back and go in the back door, a different door than the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections door is back there too. You walk forward a little bit, wind around in the hall, and there you are in their office. The location of their office may be changing. There's going to be changes taking place in county offices. We all have already been told that the Jackson County Health Department is moving to a new location
Mhm.
in a building across State Route 32 and Burlington Road from Holzer Medical Center. They're in that complex of buildings there. I think they're going where the municipal court was temporarily.
Yes.
And so they will be there sometime in 2023. They will be making the move from downtown. That will open up office space downtown in the B.J. Allison Health Building, which is the brick building built in the 70s. It's right there on the corner of Portsmouth and Main, 200 East Main Street. All right. So the commissioners, once again, meeting on Wednesday, which means they will meet tomorrow, and Jeremiah Shaver will be there to cover them.
Okay.
Also, the village of Oak Hill, the Oak Hill Village Council had its first meeting of the year. That was last Tuesday. I was there to cover that because Red Thompson was covering important news up in Vinton County. And things are pretty positive in Oak Hill. They started the year, they quickly reelected Jennifer Hughes to serve as council president.
Okay.
That is a council decision. They picked somebody to serve for the year. And Jennifer will continue to do that. She'll be the parliamentarian of the meeting. Also, they will continue to meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, starting at 6 p.m. It will follow the Board of Public Affairs meetings, which will normally be at 5:30. They do utility things like water and like that. They're the experts on that, and they collaborate with council all the time on village issues. Susan King had a prominent part in this first meeting. She is the fiscal officer. And the budget picture is pretty good in Oak Hill.
Yeah. Proud of them.
Yes, they feel pretty good. The budget is actually less this year than last year. And that's a little misleading. They had some money come in from the outside grants and like that made the budget bigger. And, because the budget includes not only the money that you're bringing in from your own revenue and taxes, it also includes any grant money because you have it to spend. It becomes part of the budget. But the budget in Oak Hill this year, throughout a figure is $2.22 million, and all the funds are in good shape. Susan King says, except for the pool fund, and
that doesn't surprise me.
The big driver there on the pool fund, and they do have a small tax that supports that. The big driver on the pool fund was the cost of chemicals going through the roof.
They did, if you remember.
Susan said they spent $90,000 on chemicals, mainly chlorine.
Wow.
And so what they will try to do, they take pride in having that pool. It is a village-owned and operated pool called the Margaret Ann Pool. It's been there since 1960, and they keep fixing it up and repairing it when they need to. Have a low-cost admission, a low cost of pool parties. They're going to have to consider raising the rates maybe to make up for the fact of the greater costs. They haven't made that decision yet. They rehired Joy Hale to be the pool manager again. They're going to bring her in here in future meetings and make that decision, talk about what the rates are now and if they are changed, what they should be changed to.
Gotcha.
So that is on the agenda in Oak Hill. All right, downtown, you may have noticed, Jennifer, we got some construction going on behind the PNC Bank on Broadway Street, facing Pearl Street. Randy Evans Construction is the contractor. The new Buckeye Community Services group home is underway. And there it is right there. Alex Shope drove downtown on his lunch hour and got that picture. Looks like, they've got the excavation and putting in some footers and like that. And that picture was taken last week. And if I don't know whether the weather is allowed because it's been pretty wet.
It's been very wet.
But Randy Evans Construction, like Randy Evans, the mayor, doesn't let any grass grow under his feet, literally, as you can see there.
Yep.
So that they hope to have that building done by the end of 2023. It will replace a two-story I guess you could call it residential house that's across from Cardo's Pizza on South Street. That's where 8 women of developmental disabilities live as residences there, but it has multiple stories, and this new group home will not only be modern and close to the downtown, it will be on one floor.
Yes.
So that will be a big advantage. And so the people at Buckeye Community Services are very excited about that, and we will, of course, be watching that construction as it takes place. Reminding us of construction, the city put out some information, and we'll keep reminding you of it because people on the north side of town will continue to notice this. Major water and sewer upgrades taking place there on the north side of town. both water line projects and sewer line projects, adding sewer lines, replacing water lines. These upgrades will take place in the areas of Mill Street, Summit Street, Crossan Street, Owen Street, Putnam Street, and Ohio Street, all over there in that neighborhood. It will also involve the addition of fire hydrants, and it will extend sanitary sewer service in some areas around Mill Street where it hasn't been before.
Yes,
so that
which is super cool.
That is big news. Of course, the project will require a lot of excavation. Roads and yards will be torn up. They promised to put them back the way they were.
It's
Just
going to be
patient.
very inconvenient for a moment, but very nice when it all gets done.
I guarantee you that it will be, and I know the residents there will enjoy the services that they didn't have before, or the improved services that they will be getting.
Absolutely.
All right. Big night in Vinton County last Saturday night. It was Hall of Fame night.
Oh,
that was where
cool.
the new members of the 2023 class of the Vinton County High School Athletic Hall of Fame were inducted. This is a big deal at Vinton County, and these are the three inductees. Red Thompson Jr. was up there, gave us some great coverage on that, by the way, that will be in Saturday's paper or Wednesday's paper. Full page coverage with pictures and story. We have that online already, by the way.
Cool.
But the three inductees are from the left, if you're looking at the picture up there, Megan Dixon, graduate of, I believe, the class of 2014. Great all-around athlete, 13 athletic letters in her 4-year career. Went on to play at Marietta College. I know that she was involved in... believe she was involved in volleyball, basketball, and track at Vinton County High School. In the middle is Josh Kirkpatrick. He is the assistant principal, and he is going in for his coaching. He continues to coach the cross-country teams at Vinton County High School, and anybody who pays attention to fall sports other than football, they know that the Vinton County cross-country program is always among the best in the area, always competing for that TVC championship.
Yes.
And Josh Kirkpatrick came to Vinton County from Carrollton, Ohio, up there in eastern Ohio, and he has stayed. He came here as a young teacher and coach, and he has enjoyed it in Vinton County. He deflected all the credit to his athletes and all the support he's gotten in Vinton County for his coaching. And he coaches girls track, or has coached girls track in the past. I think he still does, and he coaches the two cross-country teams, and they have always been very successful. And that is Coach Kirkpatrick there in the middle. On the right is one of the best runners to probably ever come out of Southeastern Ohio. His name is Wade Barney.
Okay.
He graduated in 2015. He went to the state track meet. He is a middle distance. He is a middle distance specialist. He has run the 200 meter and 400 meter dashes, and he also is the TVC record holder in the long jump, and has been to the state track meet in the long jump.
Cool.
His champion jump that still stands is 22 feet and 5 inches. And so that is Wade Barney. So congratulations to all three of them. Congratulations to the athletic department and everybody else that has anything to do with the Hall of Fame induction there in Vinton County. That is Megan Dixon getting interviewed. Red always interviews him. The radio crew interviews him.
Yeah.
That is Jason Radeball on the left and Jeff Thacker on the right, seated. They are the voices of the Vikings, along with Bob Grillo. Bob, I think, had a girls' basketball game that night and couldn't be there, or he would have been. And so, a big time. Really, I know, even though those athletes were in the spotlight, and that's in the past, it makes them feel so good to come back and be recognized. And they can kind of relive their old high school glories there. It always means a lot to them. And once again, all that coverage will be in our Wednesday paper and already online. Looking forward on the sports thing, you remember the movie Hoosiers, right?
I do.
I mean, one of my top 10.
Of course.
Maybe top 5.
Good one.
Sports movie based on something that really happened back in the early 50s in the small town of Milan, Indiana, I think it was. Gene Hackman didn't coach, but he did in the movies. And what an inspiring movie. Took a small town team. You're talking about like Colton Small. A small town team all the way to the state championship. They beat a big city team in the state championship. And the movie is all about, how the coach pulled that together. I don't know
Sure.
how many liberties they took, but
Yeah.
it is a basic
But it did happen.
David versus Goliath story that is
Yes.
true, inspiring because it is true. Well, anyway, the court where that took place is the name of the town where that is. Let me make sure I get this right. It is.
Some town in Indiana.
Yes, I'm gonna get the town here. It's Knightstown, Indiana.
Knightstown,
Had to
Indiana.
found it
Okay.
there, but it's used as a community center. But what they do is they were very smart there. They know that there is some value in that, some nostalgia, and so they invite teams from all over the area and even out of the state, in this case, to come there and play on their court. And you can say that you played on the Hoosiers court. Well,
Oh,
Oak Hill
cool.
coach Keith McInnes, give him credit. They're getting the ball rolling on this, pun intended.
Yes.
And he booked Oak Hill to play this Saturday
Oh,
on that court. The game is at 2:00. All right.
that's
It's the
awesome.
regular court. It's not regulation size. It's smaller and all because, this was back in the 50s and the courts were smaller then. And guess what? He invited Vinton County High School to be his opponent.
Love
So
that.
our two local teams, the Oak Hill boys and the Vinton County boys, will be playing 2:00 on the old Hoosiers court. So
That is fun.
there's limited seating, and I know a lot of people will want to go. And here is what to do: tickets or vouchers are now available,
Okay.
both at Vinton County High School and Oak Hill High School. And if you really want to go, you need to reserve one of those vouchers. There's only 600 vouchers that are going to be released for this game. 300 for Oak Hill, 300 for Vinton County. And they are available now in the two high school offices. The vouchers will guarantee you a ticket to the game, but they are not your ticket. You turn in the voucher at the game and you for a $10 ticket. But you
Gotcha.
have to have the voucher. It's kind of like your reservation. You go to the Will Call window
Yes.
and you get your ticket and you pay your $10. There is no pre-sale of tickets themselves. You have to
Okay.
get these, what they call vouchers, and they will be on a first come, first served basis. I'm guessing the phone lines might be busy at both high schools right now.
I'd say you're right.
And so,
That's
what
pretty
you want to
cool.
do after the show is,
Yes.
is
Don't turn us off yet.
make a call to Vinton County and Oak Hill High
I
Schools.
wonder how far away that drive is. Do you know?
It's pretty far. I know that Red Thompson Jr. and Todd Compton, Red Thompson usually covers a lot of Vinton County sports. He, along with doing his news work, Todd Compton is our sports editor. They're going.
Oh, cool.
Yes, so
that'll be
so they
fun.
will be there, and they'll be able to report that on the back end, both on the newspaper, on the radio, and I think that they're going to have some hopefully video that we can use, on television
Awesome.
too, on Main Street TV. So that's a big red letter date coming up once
Love
again this
that.
Saturday at 2:00. All right, we have kind of some. Every now and then we get a report about this, and it's distressing. Vandalism at a cemetery.
Oh no.
And this was not actually in the cemetery, but it was cemetery property. It was reported by Madison Township trustee Chris Walls. And this is the entrance to the Zoar Cemetery in Madison Township. That would be east of Oak Hill, northeast of Oak Hill, I think. And what they did was they vandalized the steel gate going to the cemetery, which, protects access to the cemetery. The gate was erected approximately 4 years ago to deter trespassers, trash dumping, and illegal drug use. They thought that that was a problem. Well, recently, the vandals did extensive damage to the gate through apparently no other reason than vandalism.
I was gonna say, why would you do that?
Chris Walls did not report about any vandalism in the cemetery itself, but maybe somebody just didn't like that they put up a gate.
Oh,
But
that's-
anyway, any information about this that about this crime, you can contact the Madison Township trustees, Township employee Daniel Parker, Fiscal Officer Missy Strickland, or the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. I know that they want to be very aggressive finding out who might have done this and punishing them
Sure.
if possible. So that's the word from Madison Township. All right. We want to remind you that this is a big afternoon and evening for the Jackson County Economic Development Partnership. We told you about it last week, but want to remind you the JCEDP CEO and President Sam Brady have set up a wonderful event. It's called their Appreciation Reception. They do it once a year. It will be from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the Parks Edge Event Center.
Okay.
They had asked for RSVPs. It was not closed to the public. They just needed a plan. So, if you go, don't count on eating any meatballs, all right? But it is going to be interesting. It is, they do a kind of review of the year. Sam may look ahead. They will talk about how the Economic Development Partnership has in front of the scenes and behind the scenes done good things to spur economic development in our county and in our area. Two of the guests will be the current congressman who represents Jackson County, Brad Winstrup of the 2nd District. He's not a new congressman, but he's new to Jackson County because of the new legislative lines. And the other person is Tim Derrickson, who is with Jobs Ohio, and he specializes in agribusiness.
That's awesome.
And food manufacturing.
Be a great event.
All right. Up Vinton County way, when I was at Oak Hill, Red was at the Vinton County School Board meeting, and a lot happened there. That was where, they had the disagreement over who was going to be president, and they finally worked it out. Well, at that same meeting, Laura Martin, who resigned as a board member back in November, we remember that. Well, she came as a guest speaker. There she is speaking, and she offered some criticism and what she thought was some positive advice for the district. But she noted that the test scores at a couple of the schools are lower than they should be.
Okay.
We need to do something about that. She said that there are discipline issues in the schools, and they needed to be transparent about the fact there are discipline issues and how to handle them, and be inclusive with the stakeholders on handling them.
Okay.
Not try to hide things and keep it within a small group, not punish or be punitive towards somebody who comes forward to say that there's a problem. Now, this is Laura Martin's opinions, but this is what she said at the board meeting. Superintendent Rick Brooks thanked her for speaking, but there was no other comments. But at the time that Laura Martin resigned, she really didn't say why. It was kind of sudden. She just got elected in 2021.
Yeah.
In 2021, served the entire. Got elected in 2021. Served about a year, and then less than a year, and then resigned kind of at the end of a meeting. So we now know, as a result of this, of the remarks she made, she's definitely critical of how, in some cases, the school district is being run from the top.
Correct.
So that was one of the things that happened at the last school board meeting in Vinton County. Janelle McManus, a well thought of administrator at the Vinton County Health Department. I think we reported this before. She will be leaving to take the health commissioner's position. She had the top position at the Vinton County Health Department. Now she's going to take the top position at the Ross County Health Department. That will happen in February. Well, she came to a recent meeting of the Vinton County Commissioners to officially say, she would be leaving. She also wanted to give a progress report on, some of the things that were going on in the health department. But she has been with the health department in Vinton County for 16 years, kind of started as a sanitarian, worked her way up through, and the last 2 or 3 years has been the person in charge of the administrator. And now you know that she was challenged because what's happened the last 2 or 3 years with health departments?
COVID.
You said the word. I didn't. Right.
Yay.
So that made you suddenly a very prominent and important person in policy. And so the commissioners did praise her work. So, they are behind her. But she will be heading to Ross County. My guess is that the family will be staying in Vinton County. Her husband, Tom, had been on the school board for some time. He did not run for re-election. And I know they have a daughter at Findlay University there in northern Ohio. So we want to wish Janelle the best. We'll probably be writing more about her before she leaves because she had an important position at a very important time in Vinton County. One of our favorite persons, I think we can agree on this, is Larry Zorns.
Yes, love Larry.
I think he's coming in later this week.
Okay, yes, I think he is.
He's coming
You're
in
correct.
later this week because it is time for the pre-1890 Indoor Trade Fair.
Yes.
Always held
So fun.
about the third week in January. It's quite a sight when you're there. That is Larry on the right.
Larry and Larry.
Right. Larry and Larry. Larry and Larry there. It's the Sons of Liberty Muzzle Loading Rifle Club that puts it on. And I think Larry Zorns is pretty much the mover, shaker, organizer.
Yeah.
He gave us information for the newspaper that we already have out there. It's online too if you want to check. But just as a little preview before he comes and talks later in the week, I saw him booked there on our calendar, so I suppose
Yes.
he's coming. He will talk about the pre-1890 Door Trade Fair. That is a group of vendors, they call them sutlers,
Yes.
who come and sell all kinds of cool stuff that has to do with early Americana.
Yes.
It can be guns, it can be books, it can be candles, it can be
Knives,
clothing,
all kind of stuff.
knives,
Something for everyone.
Right, exactly. A couple local vendors are usually there as well. Stephen Moore, who works for the city, and he's a member of the Jackson Fire Department. I know he does some leather work. He's always there dressed up. They all dress up.
Yes, it's
to make
super cool.
To make it more cool. It's a nominal admission to get in, and a portion of the proceeds always go to the 4-H camp. Larry Zorns makes sure that happens. But that is this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday. Looks like for a change they'll have good weather. We always know that a winter storm is coming when they schedule this.
I feel like they get nailed every year with a crazy weather storm.
I think it's supposed to cool down, but I don't think we're going to get any blizzards.
We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, this Saturday, January 21st, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Sunday from 8 a.m. to 3, both days you can go. It is out there at the Cantor's Cave 4-H camp.
Yes. And it's so much fun. If y'all haven't been out there, you just head out there and check it out.
Right. Okay. I want to take a minute just to acknowledge a person who we just lost last week, and that is Jackson High School, former Jackson High School teacher and head football coach Ron Fennick.
Yeah.
Ron Fennick died at the age of 87. There is Ron right there. A lot of folks knew him.
Yes.
Not from Jackson County, but he came here as a fairly young man. Already had been a coach at several other stops, including the old MacArthur High School before it was Vinton County High School.
Oh.
And played in college. I didn't know some people didn't know this, a great player at Ohio University. If you saw Ron, especially earlier in his life, you'd know, oh my God, he looks like a football player.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He
Yes.
was. And coached Jackson for 6 years in the 70s, had some pretty good seasons, never won a championship because Iron Fighting Tigers, that was always reserved for them, it seemed like. It was hard to beat them, but often the Ironmen were second. That was my era. I've written a column about Ron that's going to be in our Wednesday paper, kind of on the personal side, because he was the first football coach I covered when I was a Cub reporter.
Really?
And I remember I go in and my gosh, here's Ron Fennick, that muscular guy with the stern look and the
very intimidating.
Yeah, I thought so. And here I am, 17 years old. I'm the kid, and the first thing he told me, Jennifer, was that he had problems with the sports editor that he worked with last year up in Barberton. Oh boy! I said, whatever.
He's already mad.
I said, whatever you want, Coach. And I said something. It just came out. I had a pen in my hand, and I said to him, "If you treat me right, Coach, this pen will never turn poison." And I pointed it at him, and he had such a laugh about that I said that, and just the way it unfolded. I mean, we worked together just fine.
Yes.
And here's what I would say about Ron Fennick. I thought he was a hell of a good football coach.
Yes.
And even a better man.
Yes.
And he was the type, and in my business, this is something I really appreciate. I mean, his word was gold.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything he didn't mean, and he meant everything that he said.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you appreciate. God bless the straightforward.
Yeah,
No BS.
Exactly.
No BS. And even if he had something to say that you didn't like or you thought was critical, it was honest.
Yeah.
And not
He
that
meant it.
not that I got a lot of that. He treated the kid pretty good, and I never forgot that.
That's
But
awesome.
anyway, he passed away last Thursday at the age of 87 after battling a serious illness for some time.
Yeah.
And I know he kept that to himself, but finally passed away at the age of 87. So condolences to the family,
Yes.
wife Sharon,
Very much.
and his three wonderful children who were all outstanding student athletes at Jackson High School, Mark, Stephanie, and Yvonne. Calling hours will be at the Mayu Funeral Home from 2 to 7:30 p.m. this Thursday, and I think a rosary that night, and then a mass the next morning at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church. And God bless Ron Fennick, and some insight into the man. I mean, a lot of people knew him, but if you think that he was all football with Ron Fennick, he was I called him a Renaissance man in a Facebook post. So many interests: home restoration, winemaking.
Yep.
He was a voracious reader. Just an all-around good guy, very genial when you talk to him, and quietly he always looked to help people. He was never looking to get credit for himself. He was a team guy
Yeah.
all the way, and we are less for him not being here. All right. Also, we hyped this up because I thought it would be great to attend, and you know what? They had a capacity crowd for the Ophir Falls Winter Hike last Saturday.
That does not surprise me.
51 people.
Look at that.
51 people, and that is a part of the group there in front of Ophir Falls. In the winter, you might go there and it's frozen. It wasn't frozen this time
Yeah.
because, it's been warm lately. But isn't that a great looking waterfall behind there?
It's
you can
so
see
pretty.
You can see the size and the height of it based on the fact of the people in front. So I mean, it's not like there's a paved path back there. But you know if you know where you're going, and you can see there is kind of like a grass path back there to where you go, because the footing isn't the best in the world, and some people hadn't been back there before. They had a guided hike. Joe Finch made it happen with the help of Dennis Reinhardt and Todd Martin. They took everybody out there in a van or a bus, or I'm not sure how they got them out there, but if you signed up for this, they took you out there and then they guided you back to the site.
That's awesome.
And the good news is they're going to probably do it again sometime.
Love that.
Absolutely. All right. We also want to tell you, Jennifer, for the first time in 4 years, the Jackson High School Alumni Committee is going to have their alumni program.
Finally.
I am on the alumni committee, so I know it's official. We haven't had our first meeting yet. It's going to be February 7th. But one of the highlights each year of that event, and it's held on Memorial Day weekend on that Saturday.
It is.
5:30 p.m. in the Jackson Middle School auditorium, or as we say as alumni, the old high school.
Yeah, the old
5:30 p.m. They're going to honor the 4 graduation classes that have not been honored because of COVID, because we have not had an alumni event since 2019.
Jeez.
So therefore, the 50-year classes of 1970, 1971, 72, and my class, 1973, will be honored with a special recognition at that program, and each class will have one of their own members do a 5-minute toast.
That's awesome.
So we will have more news about that as plans are made. However, if you are a member or an organizer or officer and you're interested in this, classes of 70, 71, 72, 73, be thinking about who you might want to be your toast speaker, because we let the classes decide that, or that's how we want it anyway. Pick your own person. And you should send a representative or representatives to our meeting on February 7th so we can plan and coordinate. That meeting on February 7th, that's on a Tuesday, it will be at 6 p.m. in the Potter Room of the Jackson City Library.
Gotcha.
And we have that meeting posted there on our website and on Facebook as well. All right, we want to talk about sports real quick. We had some hellacious basketball games over the weekend.
You're not kidding.
And all this coverage will be in our Wednesday edition. That's next, isn't it?
Yes.
Wednesday edition of the God, got so excited. These games, first of all, Wellston beat Vinton County in boys basketball, and that has not happened since 2011. The place went nuts in Wellston.
Can you believe that?
79-72, 3 overtimes. It was a classic.
I didn't know about the overtime.
Kyan Irvin, who is a great player for Wellston, 46 points to lead the way for Wellston. And Vinton County kept coming back on Wellston. A couple of times they tied the score right at the end of regulation and overtime, and Wellston kept plugging and ended up winning in that third overtime, 79-72.
Whoa.
I know they will not forget that one.
No, that's a
All
crazy
right.
game.
On that same night, the Jackson Ironmen, young team, remember, about a 500 record, they went to Washington Courthouse to play the first place Washington Courthouse Blue Lions, reputedly and by consensus considered to be the best team in the FAC and certainly the most talented.
Okay.
The Ironmen somehow, with those young players, beat them 64-52.
Whoa.
A big win for Coach Max Morrow and his group.
Wow.
He agreed it was their best win of the season. He said the freshmen are growing up. So,
I love that.
so we have a story on that game with quotes from Max Morrow. On Saturday, the Vikings got back on track. The boys team got back on track and beat Greenfield McLean 67-54. That was at the Hall of Fame night, so everybody was happy.
There you go.
Hall of Fame, new Hall of Famers,
Redeemed
and a
ourselves.
win for the Vikings.
Yes.
They've only lost 2 games this year, so
Whoa.
I didn't want to make a big news story out of them losing because mostly they've won this year.
Yes.
All right, in girls basketball that night, how about this? Coach Matt Walburn and his Jackson Iron Ladies played Miami Trace on the road. Jackson was in first place going in, but Miami Trace was in second, and Jackson won on the road 29-20. Miami Trace has lost 2 games, both to Jackson. Chillicothe has lost 2 games. They're also in the running. Guess what? There's 2 games left in the season. So Jackson, even if they would lose 2 games in conference play, they will do no worse than share the title.
Okay.
They are the titleists from last year, and they will at least have a share. And all they need is 1 more win. And both of those games are at home. Greenfield coming up, and then Chillicothe to end the FAC season. Coach Matt Walburn's team has lost only 2 games. And
Can you believe
with
that?
a score like 29-20, you know that they must have played a great defensive game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, of course, you know, you probably shared the weather, didn't you, earlier? Or no, you haven't done that yet,
You
have
haven't
you?
done that yet.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're
The
fine.
weather continues to be un-January-like.
It's very
I
un-January
know it's
like.
not perfect and gets a little cold sometimes, but it's been above freezing most of the time. We've not really had any measurable snow since, that
Christmas time.
Christmas weekend where, had the polar plunge there. And so we're going to still have a bunch of basketball coming at you. You know, almost every night, Total Media, Jackson County Broadcasting has games live on the radio and streaming, on the web.
You've got
on
it.
Mixler. So just check the schedule and tune in and channel surf and keep up with all the teams. Todd Compston, Brock Netter, Red Thompson Jr., and myself, if necessary, will keep us surprised on the newspaper side of all the sports.
Very good. And they will be there broadcasting live. It's very, very good. So
All right.
thank you.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pete, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Lots and lots of stuff to cover today. And Dylan, thank you for pushing all the right buttons.
All right. He was seamless over there, wasn't he?
He did real good.
We had a lot of news to report, and we threw a lot of pictures at
Threw
him.
a lot of pictures at him
Right.
today.
Exactly. So thank you, Dylan.
Yep, that's right. All right, well, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow we'll be here with our friends from the Jackson County Dog Pound and maybe a couple of adoptable dogs.
Oh boy.
Woohoo!
What better thing can a person do than rescue a dog?
Exactly.
A pound dog.
You've got it. So
And if you don't think there's some good ones out there, you ain't been looking.
no, you're exactly right. So we will be back tomorrow with our friends from the pound, and so tune in then. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
Thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.